Hey there, everyone. So I wanted to have a little time here with my dear friend and mentor for her mystery school, Jamila Suzanne. I wanted you to meet her. A lot of you have already met her through the school, but I wanted you to meet her, and I wanted to have you get a sense of what she's offering. The mentorships with the school. The school is a 9-month curriculum, and then the 3-year curriculum, and it is what it is. And it's wonderful, but it doesn't always offer the level of one-on-one support women often would like to have. And so the mentorships are in order to kind of support in that way. And Jamila's been a mentor with the school now going into her 7th year. And I wanted just to give you a sense of her. Having one-on-one support, Jamila has different topics, different extraordinary gifts that she brings, and they tailor, they journey with the school. So yeah, so welcome, meet Jamila. Hi, Jamila. Thanks for
Hello.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hi.
pleasure.
Will you start just by giving the basics, like I know it's changed a little bit throughout the years. What mentorships are you offering right now, and
Mhm.
how are you working with the women right now?
Yeah, sure. So I offer, basically what I'm honing in on this year is personal mentorships, and I'll talk about that for just a moment. What I have done previously is offered two programs that go along with the 9 months of the school. One is called Medicine Woman mentorship, and the other is oracular dreaming. And we're doing something new this year, and we're creating those as self-paced bundles. And so all of the curriculum and teachings are there, and you can do it like a month at a time alongside the 9 months of the baseline curriculum. Or you can go more quickly through them at your own pace if you like. Those are pre-recorded. And so they're not with a one-on-one. So if you find that you want more direct contact with me, then what we're doing is creating one-on-one mentorships. And so that will be really specified to who you are and what's right for you and what your needs are. We've just found that that's kind of how the mentorships morph anyway. It really becomes a presence-based piece. And so you can do that alongside once a month with the regular curriculum with me for the full 9 months. You can also book a single session. Say you do one of those self-study bundles and you're having some powerful dreams come through, which is my forte in the school, certainly. And you want some more help or insight, then you can book a one-on-one or a bundle of 3 sessions through the school, really easy. In addition to that kind of baseline archetypal piece, then I also mentor doing Queen's Command reflections with it, which is the second tier, going into the school. And some women do that more than 1 year. You do it when it's right for you. Jamana is really good about giving intros to that. And then Dionysia and I teach a 9-month woman at midlife for these changing times of perimenopause and menopause. And we've done that the past couple of years and are offering it again. And so if you find yourself being curious in that place post-menopausal, there's just so much more support and insight. And it's a group mentorship. So we all meet together as a group, and Dio and I teach the first one together and the last one together. And then we teach intermittently, one or the other of us every other month in between. And women have definitely gotten a lot out of that so far. So that's the place that I most predominantly show up for the school. Yeah. If you want me to talk more about each one of those little tracks, I can too, if you want, Jumana.
Well, I mean, most of, you can, all of you guys out there, all of this is on the website. There's a lot more, there's more depth of, information about what exactly the content is, registration and everything. Yeah, I mostly want to make sure that they know what is even out there to go looking for. I always think of you, Jamila, as like our rite of passage kind of, well, what do we, deep space, right? That there's the
Yeah.
you hold I'm glad that I love the other things you've created also. And I like that those are moving into just content bundles where women can self-study. I think that's going to be a really good fit, actually. I
Mhm.
love that you're focusing on the personal mentorships, because I feel like that's one of the strongest places that I know you in, is actually walking through the terrain of initiation when, there's kind of no content for those. There's only a way of being, and all the wisdom that you have and the way that you hold the women and
Mhm.
their sacred context. But it's and I feel like so many of us are finding ourselves in those places for all the different reasons that we're annihilated, or we're working with loss, or we're just being changed and
Yeah.
being asked to release, being asked to become something maybe we don't want to be, whatever. There's a lot that we're asked to face that is not always easy. And I feel like you're very
Mhm.
potent in that place of
Mhm.
escorting women through their own initiation so that they accomplish them and come to the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Jemana. It's so true. And it echoes my own life very deeply, my own personal experiences. And so I think a lot of times what we offer is deepest from our own learning. And when I drop into the school and the power that has provided for me and the language that comes along with it, you know, I pick out the base foundation of dominion and homecoming, and then I really have a resonance with the dissent, which is the you know sometimes unwanted initiations, and those that are often harder, whether that's divorce or death or a health crisis or a financial crisis, the things that move us, shape us, tear us apart, obliterate us, and that we actually make it through. And it's that making it through piece that a lot of times we need help with. Like, we need to remember that even when we don't know ourselves, we're still there, and that is like such a sacred, formative time. And so I do find that a lot in my mentoring, it is about the falling apart and the piecing back together anew. And so what you've created with the curriculum and with the practices, for instance, in Dissent, the shrouding practice is one that I have called upon for myself and really lean into, to allow ourselves to let go all the way and listen deeply, and to find the richness there. And so the flow of the teachings of the school and being able to then move into a place of dark mother where we can find ourselves embraced by her and what we need to find nourishment to come back to life. And so I think a lot of like, oh, do I have a favorite part of the school? Like all of it, because depending on where we are, we have different needs. And so I do think that a lot of the mentoring that I do is about um, helping find that place of, okay, what specifically is of service to you right now? Because it's a beautiful bouquet of offerings, of teachings, and of practices that become very useful depending on where we are and what we need at any given time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned, the Dissent, and, the Dissent and Dark Mother. And I know after that comes Alchemista, right? So it's like, when we work with some of you have been in the school who are watching and others not. And when we work with the Dissent, that's when we go into all of the teachings and sacred context around the annihilations of life. So, we have our time in paradise and communion and Heavenly Mother. We have these times we go to many different realms in this school. We kind of stretch. And for many women, one of the most potent Interestingly, relieving months is the month of Dissent. And it's because in that month we work with restoring sacred context around the inevitable annihilations of life. You know, there are these things that we're helpless in the face of until we find the place where we are never not helpless. And right, I feel like that's what you're speaking to. And because, you know, I know you're not holding the group mentorships in the same way. Women can still access the content, but medicine woman and oracular dreaming, you know, for those of you out here just who are just getting to know Jamila, she's very comfortable and potent in the liminal space, you know, and in the place of, right, with medicine woman, it's all about what is your medicine. And you know, when we're talking about the Dissent and all these annihilations and the initiations we go on, those are medicine making life experiences if we can engage with them as that. But it's like you said, it does require an anchor, and that's why I'm so happy to have the one-on-one mentorships. A lot of women come to the school, and yes, they're drawn towards deep feminine way, and they're drawn towards what that is, but they're also often, you know, they're often in an initiation that life is delivering. I mean, that the school is initiatory in its way, but I love that. And I think one of the ways we get stuck in a lot of these experiences is that we don't have the context or the anchor. I mean, these are initiatory experiences, and what they require in cultures around the world forever, you know, is a guide.
Yeah.
You don't do it alone. You do it alone, right? I mean, you make your own medicine, but not alone. No, there's always someone who makes sure that you don't get stuck there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
There's a strong sisterhood here, even just energetically in the school. It's online, you know, there's the weekly chats and questions and answers that you can be served by. And so there's a really beautiful relativity to the deep inner work and just feeling that it's held in this lattice and this foundation and structure of other women that are doing the same thing.
Right.
There's a strength and a power there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say as you've been working, you know, it's been 7 years that you've been working with the school. I mean, a couple questions about that. It's kind of amazing that we're looking at it now, this many years down.
New skin.
What has been most meaningful for you, do you think, in terms of your work with the women?
I would say seeing, experiencing, feeling huge transformation in every single woman that I work with. And it comes both subtly and also in huge aha moments, and to bear witness to that over and over and over again in such a rooted, heartfelt, like juicy way, that it's not this like puppy love, it's not this excitable, it's really like as Jumana says, a dropping down and back moment where there's a return to a timeless knowing of the feminine essence. And in that awareness over the 7 years of working with women, it's that wave over and over and over and over again. And that moves me deeply. It moves me deeply to be a part of the support of that and for that with every single woman I work with, whether it's one-on-one or in a group. And it also moves me as a woman, knowing that we are continuing to build trust in the feminine essence, in that field, and bringing it back to healing patriarchy, healing living in a world of chaos and corruption and a lot of like hardship, and just bearing the light, finding those sparks in each and every one of us. And it's imperfect and it's messy and it's okay. And it's that beauty of that walk together, combining every single step of the way and being able to have these little sparks of light, like stars in the cosmos, all throughout the world, like what, 17 countries at this point, and having the opportunity to see that weave and be a part of that weave and trust in that more deeply. It just gives me so much hope um, in humanity.
I echo that. And actually, that's beautiful. A lot of what I've been experiencing with the school is just this continual respect and love and hope. Exactly, because I find that when women come to the school, they are seeking. I mean, it's a deep feminine wisdom stream. So there is like I feel like you're speaking to this a little bit. There's a certain level of sobriety in it. Like this isn't just like changing your mind or trying on a new skin or, getting a little sexy or feeling more empowered. It's so much deeper than that. And because of that, just what I witnessed is the level of sincerity and the level of, depth in the women and willingness and capacity. It's really, it is very hope bringing.
Yeah.
How would you say for you, since you've been teaching now for 7 years with the school, how would you say that you have evolved, in your or changed or grown as you've met the women and gone through your own many initiations?
Well, I mean, I think at the beginning of mentoring with the school, like anything new, like I had a list and my, yellow pad of paper and my bullet points, and I wanted to get it all right and include all the things. And there was more trying involved at the beginning, just because I wanted to do it right. And I have relaxed a lot into trusting Great Spirit herself. And so my own teaching and holding and facilitating has become much more integrated with my own intuition and ease and flow of just connecting with whoever's in front of me. And so I can talk about this a little bit more later, but it's really that differential and combination between Chronos and Kairos, that linear logical and that out of time, more synchronicity based. And I do believe like there's a marriage in that as well, that when we learn to flex the muscle of trusting what we hear, trusting what we know, finding that place within ourselves and moving from that place, life just unfolds beautifully, like one of those roses opening up next to you. And so over the 7 years of teaching and facilitating and holding, I feel like that energetic has blossomed as well in myself, the deeper trust of an inner knowing, greater listening, and then responding to that in any Zoom call or situation, because it's about the present moment. It's about connecting the mental and the heart and the womb and the physical and the connection between the inner and the external worlds. And so it's just become a more fluent language, I believe. And that's also what I teach. And so in teaching that, like how we teach to relax into our own deeper knowing becomes something that's a visceral felt response, right? It's not necessarily something we write down on bullet points on paper. It's like, all right, please relax. Like, please take a breath and relax. Like that is like a baseline for anything that I hold and teach.
Yeah, it feels like it's this kind of wonderful softening around, you know, all that you hold and the gifts and the intentions and the skills you've cultivated and the knowing you've cultivated, and just to kind of know that it's all there and completely at your fingertips, but then come to the moment empty. You know, it's interesting because we talk about it in the school. You know, that's a part of, especially when we get further in the school, to priestess. And what is it to do that? What is it to, it's that at the most basic level, right? We learn how to go ahead and empty out with whatever, just take a minute and empty so that you can be available for something bigger. And I feel like you're amazing at that. I mean, I've seen you move through some initiations where I've been just like, oh my God, this is like a barge moving through the universe. Like amazing, amazing. But it's like, I think for me with you, what's become more clear in a certain way, or I've just, you know, gotten to see it now, is just that I really do see how much power, I guess that you feel more translucent to me, you know, that I really have this sense of like, yes, you're there, but like what's moving behind you and what's really rising up in you is so much, it's like right there. It's right on the surface. And I feel like that has a lot to do with how much of a connection you've cultivated to it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I feel like so much with the school in general, it's like even inside of all the content, there's that other thing, the most important thing that's happening, which is each woman's unfolding. So it's like you have this structure and it's important and there's all these wonderful things, and yet there's a through line through all of that. And if you stay on that, everything makes sense and comes to its right place. And if you lose that, you've kind of lost the actual current of what's unfolding. Yeah. Well, Jamila, what do you think? I kind of know what I've said a little bit about what I think. If you had to name what you think your superpower is that you might be bringing to your work with the school, what would that be?
Oh, we got it right here. My superpower is resilience.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Superpower is resilience. Fall down, get back up. Fall down, get back up. Get pushed down, get back up. And and so my most recent experience of this, for those of you who do not know me very well, is that I had my beloved of 5 years died suddenly and annihilated me. And I definitely resourced my power and capacity to keep going from the tenets of this school. Hands down. I fell into the knowingness, the words, the language, the ability to soften, to cry, to grieve, to feel massive intensity, and to know that I would make it through. And I would put on some of the practices and find solace here in this school, in your teachings and these practices. And it kept me coming back home, kept me like creating anew, initiated. And within months after he died, and through some of the plant medicine work that I do, I was shown the way forward, and I am now engaged to an incredible human being that came my way, who was shown to me through the liminal and through the medicine woman archetype. And by listening deeply, I am better than ever. And that resilience has also kept me very in touch, through death, and through the death of my partner, with him in the spirit side, really on a PhD level acceleration to what it is to combine the worlds of the living and the dead. And so I have grown immensely through that superpower of resilience. Yeah.
I know there were it's at least one time I can think of when you were going through all that I I was talking to Dionysia and we were just both like, oh my God, like, how is she doing this? Seriously, it was really like it wasn't just that you were surviving. There was I didn't experience that you were just surviving through it. I mean, I knew that you were initiating and consciously initiating, and that there was just resilience, endurance, and also, yeah, you were the embodiment of the initiation, the initiation through annihilation. And yeah, I love too that you talk about, it's wonderful to hear that the school was supportive for you in that, because that is, that's what all of us are doing here at the school. Me, you, it's that, there was this need, this call to create something that we could fall into when we need to, that could be that place to be, be filled and, have all the beauty, but then and that's great. But for me, it's always a little bit tilted in the direction of like, and will this have you when the shit really hits the fan?
Exactly.
What will this relationship, will this practice, will this tradition, will this kinship, will this sisterhood, can it have you when everything else is gone? And I think that that's a wonderful testament. I'm glad to hear that, because that is very much a part of the intention and a huge part of the Dissent. Like we were talking about at the beginning of the interview, is like, well, that moment, right, when you're made into more than you ever knew that you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And as we come out of Dissent and being held by Dark Mother, and one of my favorite practices, moving into more fluid and creative energies, is the Alchemista practice, reconciling irreconcilables. So when you feel like there's no way out or through, you don't know what to do, there's this amazing practice. Those of you who've been in the school know it. Those of you who are coming, you will get the opportunity, where you really put the not knowing in your hands, and you hold them and you bring them together, and the answer and the clear path has an opportunity to show itself to you. It's a very powerful practice, one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love that one too, actually. So a little background on that practice, it's, for all the many ways in which we as humans, and especially I think as women, find ourselves in these irreconcilable moments where it's like, whether it's two aspects of ourselves, or we have to make a choice between two things, or between two dream, we get torn. And then if we don't find that find that bigger place and let them come together, it becomes, we keep losing pieces of ourselves. Yeah, I love that practice. It's we take the two things that seem irreconcilable and we let themselves come into something completely new and actually show. It is really powerful. It's very that's a great one for coming out of the Dissent and Dark Mother, isn't it? Because you're really saying like, okay, I'm in the unknown. I'm going to surrender. I don't know. Show me how now I move.
Yes.
I think that's a lot of, I've talked about it in the school as things have gone, as the years have gone by, and I've been particularly paying attention to what's happening in journeys of descent or in journeys of hardship. We've started to become more and more aware that the ascent can be as like confusing and disorienting as the descent. You're sure everything gets stripped away, there's a loss, whatever there is, and that's disorienting. And yet then on the other side, when you start to come back to life, it's also disorienting, because everything is different and you are different. And to have to have practices or ways or context around that too has felt more and more important to me as time has gone on, because we do come back to life. We do. That's just how it goes.
We do. But it may look and feel very different. So
very different. Right.
Reborn.
Right. Well, is there anything else, anything else that you would like to share or speak to in our last few minutes here?
I think the only thing I'd like to say is that I've been getting one question from my mentors that I've been working with for the last few years, and I just want to reassure all of them. They've been saying, when are you going to host a retreat? And I just want to say on live, live on camera, it's coming. Like life has been so full and I'm just gearing up, getting ready. I've been to a couple of very amazing retreat centers recently for my own work this summer, and I just have been having all these aha moments. I'm going to piggyback um, Dream / Medicine Woman retreat and Love Star Coaching retreat, which is my new business with my partner. So we are going to piggyback those. I've been talking about it in the last month even. So I just want to reassure those who want that in person, like coming out of COVID, and we've been doing lots online, and I love meeting like that. But I myself am looking forward to making those dates actual, cemented, and public. So it's right around the corner, I promise.
I love that, Jamila. I know it's been like it's been hovering out there on the horizon for a
I
little
know,
while,
forever.
but life has been working out some other things for you for
Yes.
a while. And yeah,
Yes.
I love that. Love Star Coaching. That's awesome.
I know. We're doing it.
Good.
We're all
That's
in.
good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
wait for you to meet him. You'll see on my little Zoom here, it now says Jamila and Darren Applegate because I'm actually taking his last name and I'm becoming Jamila Suzanne Applegate. Yeah, and we're coaching together as well, couples, and he's very, very profound. So there will be some powerful masculine energy joining me.
Oh,
And
that
that way we
is
can
so
piggyback. I
good.
want to do a women's retreat for the first week, and then we'll bring in couples if you want to bring in your partner for the weekend afterward. Piggyback.
Oh, this is exciting. And you guys we'll send out newsletters. You all know when it's happening for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, this is exciting. What a lot of fruition. And I mean, really, truly, it is like from this perspective with you witnessing the descent and the resurrection, it's a very, yeah, I really do feel that and just how it's like, right. It's so cliche to trust that life is bringing itself to a higher order. It's cliche in the first place. And secondly, it's impossible to actually believe when you're being annihilated. You're like, what?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest reasons why you need, what I need, why I want people, women to have at least one person who can continually hold sacred context because part of the annihilations is that you're annihilated. You're not supposed to be in a place where like deeply, deeply maybe we know that life will return, but we don't, that's not really, we don't get there for a minute. And but I
That's okay.
feel like your life is a real testament to the life death life cycle, right? Just and trusting in that. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank you, Jamila, so much for spending
so
this time
welcome.
with me. Yeah.
Thank
And
you,
all of you
Jamila.
all, I'm so grateful. And all of you who are watching, just know that we're starting on September 3rd, I think.
Yes. Yes.
September 3rd, right? Which is in about a week from this recording. We'll stay open. Enrollment will stay open for a couple weeks. It'll be our 8th cycle, and we've got a beautiful group of women gathering. If you want to work with Jamila or just even feel that out, you can book a discovery session with her. So if you go to hermysteryschool.com, you can find Jamila and you can find the mentorships, and you can book a 20-minute free discovery session with her just to feel into your chemistry, what it is you're looking for. And I encourage you to do that if you are feeling like this is an initiation time for you and you would like to have deeply trusted guide and anchor through that. So, all right. Thank you all. And thank you, Jamila. I love you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jamila.